The playground. That's the headline of tonight's fragment. The body, the text. It reads as follows. Caught between two wrongs do not make a right, and nobody likes a tattle-tale. The average kid doesn't stand a playground's chance in hell. And that's it. The playground. Caught between two wrongs do not make a right, and nobody likes a tattle-tale. The average kid doesn't stand a playground's chance in hell. They say children are resilient. They say kids are tough. But what they don't say, what they don't like to say, is that the earliest battlefield for truth and justice is often the playground. Not the courtroom, not the chapel, not the town square, the playground. And before we go one word further, let me tell you this. That headline, the playground, isn't innocent, and neither is its shadow, tucked at the bottom like a trap. Prayground. Yes, prayground. A place where one goes not to play, but to beg, to hope, to survive. And the thing is, the line between the two is so thin that it can vanish in a blink. One moment you're chasing a ball, the next you're dodging blame. One moment you're laughing on the swings, the next you're standing alone, accused, while the teachers look away and your friends scatter like frightened birds. You see, the playground isn't just metal and mulch. It's the first testing ground of morality. But the problem is, the rules don't work there. Not really. Let's start with this. Two wrongs do not make a right. That's what they say. That's what they teach. But say that to the kid who's just been hit. Say that to the child who's had his backpack thrown on the roof. Say that to the little girl who's been mocked 3 days straight and finally says something mean back. The adult says, be the bigger person. But on the playground, being the bigger person means being the one who gets away with it. It means knowing how to pinch without leaving a bruise, how to lie without blinking, how to turn a story just enough to get the other one in trouble. Because the real law of the playground, it's not the golden rule. It's don't get caught. And what about the second phrase? Nobody likes a tattle-tale. Ah, now we're talking poison. That one is sharpened steel. You can be bleeding from the elbow, snot streaming down your face, and still you'll hesitate because you've heard it. No one likes a snitch. Don't be a baby. Work it out yourselves. The grown-ups, ironically, don't want to deal with it. They've outsourced justice to whispers and hierarchies of fear, and when they do intervene, it's too late. It's clumsy. Or worse, it punishes the wrong kid entirely. So what's a child supposed to do? Caught between two wrongs don't make a right, and nobody likes a tattle-tale. That's the trap. That's the contradiction. That's the tightening noose. The child doesn't stand a playground's chance in hell. And now we arrive at that word, prayground, not playground, prayground. A subtle shift of one letter that changes the entire world. Because sometimes, maybe too often, what begins as a place of play becomes a place of prayer. Not church prayer, not formal, bowed head liturgy. No, this is the silent kind. The inner scream that sounds like this. Please don't let them notice me. Please let me make it through recess. Please let someone believe me. Please let it be over. Prayer here isn't a spiritual act. It's a survival mechanism. And that's the deeper cut. Because once the playground becomes the playground, the child is no longer learning how to play. The child is learning how to cope, how to shrink, how to navigate a moral paradox with no compass, no allies, and no authority that can be trusted to set things right. In other words, they're being trained for the adult world. Yes, that's the hidden horror. This fragment, this devastating little machine, reveals the moral boot camp we've built for our children without ever acknowledging it. We dress it up in monkey bars and four-square courts. We give it wood chips and whistles. But what we've really done is this. We've handed them broken tools and told them to build integrity with them. And here's the universal truth this fragment whispers. If you want to understand the world you live in, go back and stand on the playground. Ask yourself, who made the rules? Who enforced them? Who looked the other way? Who got away with it? And who still carries the memory of being blamed when they told the truth? This fragment is about children, yes, but it's also about the child inside the adult. Because the moral absurdities we accept as grown-ups are often rooted in those early, impossible contradictions. Ever wonder why people stay silent when they see wrongdoing? Why they say, it's not my place, why they hesitate to blow the whistle, because they learned early that telling the truth makes you a target, and standing up for yourself means you might end up more hurt than you were before. They learned that being right doesn't always mean being safe. Now, back to that playground, that word, that brilliant switch. See, in the playground, the child is invited to engage the world physically, to test gravity, to negotiate rules, to explore freedom. But in the playground, the child is reduced to a whisper, motionless, waiting for salvation that never comes. Or if it does, it arrives late, wearing the wrong uniform, delivering punishment in the wrong direction. A playground is where innocence goes quiet. And yet, the genius of this fragment is that it doesn't scream, it doesn't plead, it just shows the tension and lets us feel the ache. Now some will ask, what are we supposed to do with this? Just sit in the sadness? No. We use it as mirror, as diagnosis, as teaching. If you're a parent, a teacher, a bystander, or even just a former child, which is to say all of us, then hear this. If you want your children to believe in justice, show them that it works. If you want your children to tell the truth, make it safe to do so. If you want your children to play, protect the playground from becoming a prayground. And if you are the child, still inside, who never got out of that trap, who still remembers what it felt like to be blamed, to be ignored, to have no way out, then know this. You weren't crazy. You weren't wrong. And you weren't alone. What you were was surrounded by broken systems in miniature, systems that looked like swing sets but worked like courts, rules that claimed to protect but really preserve power, voices that said, just ignore them, while quietly ensuring the strong stayed strong. And maybe, just maybe, if you can name it now, if you can speak it aloud, if you can tell someone else what happened back then, maybe that's how we start to fix the world. Not all at once, not overnight, but one playground at a time. Closing thoughts. There is always something hidden in a clever turn of phrase. The headline, the playground is not merely the stage, it is the veil. And the body of the fragment? It tears the veil in two. We are not just speaking about children. We are speaking about all of us, standing on the rubber mat of moral confusion, still trying to play a fair game in an unfair system. The philosopher's job is not to fix the swing set or write a new rule book. The philosopher's job is to notice when the playground becomes the prayground, and to tell someone, and now I've told you.